how many of you are parents? I know Raven, you are.
All of us.
So you're all parents, myself included. Okay. So
Dad rock.
No.
Literally.
How do your kids feel about dad trying to hold on to his youth?
Ooh, I get made fun of a lot.
This video is brought to you by Gamefly. We'll hear more about them later, but for now, let's get on to today's show. Welcome to Room 6, the channel dedicated to local and not so local music and the people that make it, including my guests. And my guests today are an American hard rock and outlaw country band based out of southern Utah. Half of the band has actually been on Room 6 under a different name, and their latest single, Thursday, is out now. Stick around, we're going to be seeing their latest music video for Thursday after this. Please welcome to the channel, SIX String Revolver. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up?
Thanks for having us.
So first off, thanks for coming on. And if you want to be like them, and you want to be on Room 6, whether featured, whether reviewed, interviewed, or both, hit me up using my email address down in the description, or click the Room 6 social media link. That's where you'll find all the things I'm up to online, ways you can support the channel should you so desire, and more. Now then, number one, right off the bat, why the name?
We have the most incredible six-string revolver in our whole entire area. And this guy is, I don't know, he was born with a guitar in his hand, and he shreds like, I don't know, Eddie Van Halen meets Nuno Bettencourt meets, I don't know, the most amazing guitar players ever. This guy is the six-string revolver, and that's Mr. Hawkeye Pierce right there.
Thanks, Raven, but you give me a little too much credit.
Jeez, that wasn't rehearsed at all, was it?
No, I actually, we were looking for a great name, and that one just fit us. It seemed to really stand out. Yeah.
No, it is a good name, especially considering the type of music and the whole ethos that you've built, or not ethos, mythos, the whole outlaw country thing. It's a great name, and I'm surprised nobody else has really grabbed it. I think in my research for this interview, I may have seen one other act called that. I don't remember where, and I don't think they're still together. But just a heads up.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, right. So
those guys we buried in the back.
So for those of you that don't know who Six String Revolver is, thank you for watching. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell them who you are and what you do in the band.
I'm Chuck Triplett. I play bass and dance a lot.
AKA Monkey.
Yeah, or Monkey. Some people call me that.
I'm Hawkeye Pierce. I play guitars and try to sing backing vocals. I'm not much of a vocalist, but I make up for it with guitar.
Yeah.
And big arms. See those?
Look at them. Look at them guns.
My name's Dave Durfee. I play drums.
He sings too. He just won't.
He tries to sing. Yeah. My name's Raven Kane. I'm the lead voice and the biggest head in the band.
And he plays guitar too. I guess these guys forgot what the fuck they do. Right?
Yeah. Well, Josh is on, man. He makes everybody nervous. Look at him. Oh. Look at that face.
He has a good beard.
Okay.
He's got a great beard. It's a great beard.
He doesn't die. He doesn't die. His Raven.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, this is all natural, and I can't. It just stops at this point. It will not grow out, no matter what I do. And living in Nevada, I don't really want it to get big and bushy, but I've tried, and it stops there. So,
dude, I've got to tell you something.
Okay.
You talk about going down a rabbit hole. I've got to tell you something. So you remember you invited the Raven Kane band to play the Fremont Street gig. I tried to get the group together. Dave, of course, was always down. I tried to get the group together, but none of the guys wanted to do it except for Dave. I was like, all right, man, I'm going to do this solo. And I practiced for a couple weeks, just me and my guitar playing solo. And when I went out there, that is what started Six String Revolver. Because after that show, I was like, you know what, man, I miss playing music, and I don't want to be out here playing like this. I want to be playing with a band, doing the song that I love to do. I want that brotherhood again. I want to do something with my music. And that is what sparked the idea. I want to put a new band together. And of course, I hit up Dave, of course, and we were like, let's do this, man. But Dave was like, dude, we've got to call it something else. We've got to go in a total direction.
Rebrand it
Yeah.
in a way and
So-
bring some new guys in and like change the name. Even if we do some of the same songs, we got to rebrand it.
So essentially, you started a band because you're tired of playing with yourself.
No, I'm never tired of playing with myself.
Yeah, don't tell his wife. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I have to give you huge shout out and kudos, not only for making the drive for that. For those of you that don't know, once or twice a year, I put on what I call a Room 6 showcase. It's not a showcase in that they just play for exposure. I pay them and they get merch and stuff. I try to make a gig that I would want to play because I did music in this town for over 10 years. And I really try to put on a good show. And Raven came in solo and just killed it. Like one of the most favorite acts of the night all by himself, which was kind of huge. Like really, you upped the energy level of the place and set the bar perfectly for, I think you were the second to last act, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. Plus, he bought a piece of merch, room6.shop. Hey. And he set the bar perfectly for Stanley Avenue, who were the final band. It was just that's what you want when you're like putting on a show. You want the energy to do this. And thank you so much. So hopefully, we can get you guys out here for a full band thing, something like that. But I'm happy to hear that. I was happy that gave you the impetus to start looking around for another act. And I agree with the rebranding only because I have 2 albums. When I had a band, we were playing just my music. They wouldn't let me call it anything but Joshua Courtwright Band. And I always felt weird until as soon as we started writing music together, boom, became the Suspense. I really was like, we're renaming ourselves because this is not my band anymore. It's our band. Yeah, so I'm right there with you. So now, Raven and Dave, you have gotten this question from me, but it's been a few years since you came on. You were one of the first bands, I think, that came on to this podunk little YouTube channel. And so I'm going to ask this question again. And you OG Room 6ers, you know what's coming. I have like 2 or 3 questions I always ask because I like the answers I get. And I feel like it shows people a little bit of who you as a musician came from. So let's talk about your earliest musical influence, okay? And by that, I mean, what is that first moment you remember going, I want to do that?
Me? You want me to go?
Go.
Dude. First of all, I was raised in a cult. And because I was raised in a cult, I was not exposed to a lot of stuff that other people are exposed to. But I happened to find this book in the library called No One Gets Out of Here Alive about Jim Morrison. I read this book about Jim Morrison, and then I found the Doors music, and I started researching the Doors the best you could back in those days. I was blown away. Jim Morrison set the tone. He was wild. He was crazy. He was into poetry. He got me into William Blake and all kinds of poetry and all kinds of stuff like that and art, and it just kind of like exploded. I wanted to be a singer at that point. Before, I wanted to be a guitar player, songwriter, because I wrote songs and stuff. But when I heard Jim Morrison and the Doors, I was hooked. I wanted to be Jim Morrison.
Next.
Oh, it's
your turn.
It's my turn. Okay. Well, I was enamored in the early days with Metal Edge magazine, and I was such a huge Tommy Lee, Ricky Rocket, 80s glam metal fan. Tommy Aldridge wearing a diaper, and I knew right then and there that that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. and I just worked hard at it. Although I don't wear a diaper, I probably should at my age.
Nice.
I guess mine's back when I was about 8 years old. My sister used to play acoustic guitar with this other girl. They go around, they'd sing everywhere. And they got on the March of Dimes telethon on TV, and then they were on this talent showcase on TV. I saw my sister up there singing and playing guitar on TV, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And so I had her teach me how to play guitar. I started playing, learning stuff like Linda Ronstadt, stuff that she knew how to play. And then all of a sudden there was Kiss, and then there was Angus Young, and then there was Van Halen. When I saw Eddie, I was totally hooked. Once I saw Eddie play.
Yeah, you and a lot of young people. But that is the first time in almost 5 years of doing these that anybody has said Linda Ronstadt. So good on you.
I'll start with Linda Ronstadt.
All street credibility.
It's gone.
Sorry, guys. I fucked up.
No. Don't get it twisted. Linda Ronstadt goes hard in the paint. Like I mean, if you're a songwriter, you got to respect everybody from that era.
Oh, yeah.
Van Halen covered one of her songs.
Exactly.
Yeah, because usually they wouldn't write it out. They wouldn't write their album. They'd show up in the studio, didn't know any songs. They'd end up doing full cover. That's why Diver Down is all fucking covers.
That's why? That's where the song is too.
They were drunk the whole fucking time. That's why.
Sure, they were drunk. Sure, they were just drunk. All right, Chuck.
So I started off listening to a lot of the similar stuff with Hawkeye. Old Ozzy, I remember listening to Ozzy. Iron Maiden live after midnight. I mean, those are albums I started on. I remember buying the first album I physically went and bought with my own money was the Poison album, the very first one. Look at the Cat Dragged In.
Yeah.
And I remember bringing it home, and my grandma was an organ player in church and stuff. And ironically, I'm the one that likes to cuss more than the rest of them. But the tape was sitting there. I just remember looking at the tape and goes, "Those girls are adorable." And I would go, "Oh my God." What I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, they all look like the supermodel shots from the mall.
Yeah.
Well, I cut my teeth on 80s, but I got into punks pretty soon after that. And honestly, when I write, that's kind of what comes out. It's more punky than rock. I don't really know why. I can't stop it. It's just kind of what comes out.
Punky the Monkey.
Yeah. What do you do?
Very, very cool. Very nice. So from there, how many of you are parents? I know, Raven, you are.
All of us.
So you're all parents, myself included. Okay. So
Dad rock.
No.
Literally.
How do your kids feel about Dad trying to hold on to his youth?
Ooh. I get made fun of a lot.
Yeah.
I told them I'm aging in reverse from now on. I'm not even aging forward. I'm aging in reverse. Yeah, I get made fun of a lot.
My kids all think it's pretty awesome.
Right on.
So do I. I have a 14-year-old daughter that likes what we do. She saw us play one night opening for Saving Abel, and then the very next night she went to Vegas and saw Pink, and she came back and I go, "How was Pink?" And she goes, "Not as fun as hanging out backstage with you guys." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, cool."
One of my kids, I have two kids. They're old, but 31 and 27. But the older one plays guitar and stuff. The younger one, he's cool with it. He likes it. They don't come watch my shows for shit, but I think it's because they have little kids and they're usually in bed by the time we play shows.
Yeah.
My son plays guitar too. Yeah. He picked it up.
Right on. I just like to ask that of parents. It's always funny. So don't forget, stick around. We're going to be seeing their music video for Thursday, their latest single. And I will have links down in the description for all the places you can find them online, including where you can buy their music. So, Chuck, sticking with you. You went...
Yeah.
Well, relax. So you went from...
Don't get nervous.
Don't let him.
Don't get nervous. Don't get nervous.
I'm not nervous.
Be afraid. No. So you went from military to police to a biker gang commander?
What are you getting this information from?
It's public.
It's public knowledge.
I did 25 years in the military. About 13 active duty years, 12 National Guard years. Basically, I went on active duty for 8 years. I went to Germany, Korea, Washington State a couple times. Got out of the Army to go into the National Guard and go to college. And basically, the first person that called me and offered me a job was law enforcement. So I did 20 years as a cop. I've had 3 jobs in my life. I don't ever stop. I go until you give me a fucking retirement, then I go home.
I'll find another one.
Yeah, I'm doing another one right now. I'm working for BLM. Not Black Lives Matter, the other BLM.
I figured.
Land management.
I figured. But I just thought I thought it was interesting how I was looking through your history. I was like, commander in a bike gang. And yes, I realize it's a veteran bike group. That
It's
you're
not a gang.
Yeah, I get it. But I thought it was funny. Yeah, I was like, that's a really interesting. That's an interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting progression. That's all. So
I did 25 years in the military. I did 25 years in the military. So basically, we're a 501c19 nonprofit. We raise money to help vets, man. We give away $20,000 a year, probably on average, to help vets in our local community every year.
There goes one right now.
Son of a bitch.
I find it funny is he used to be a cop and he hangs out with me and Dave.
That's where I met him. Actually, a funny story is I was in a band for 6 years with a guy. I met him the first time when I was giving him a guitar string in his cell. He broke one.
Wow.
It wasn't.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Wasn't any of them. I should record 2 albums with those guys.
Oh
Right
my
on.
gosh.
One other question for Chuck here before we move on, and this is actually a question. I'm going to ask something in the same vein here of all of you, so be prepared. How does Full Tilt Boogie compare to Bottled Monkey?
Full Tilt Boogie was more of a jam band type thing. We did a lot of like Grateful Dead, more old school stuff. Bottle Monkey was a different monster. And that's where the name Monkey comes from, because I would wear a latex rubber monkey mask every gig. So that band was basically started by me and a guy that played guitar and sang. He was an art professor. He had never played a gig ever until he was 37, probably with me. And that's when Bottle Monkey started. We played 7, 8 years. He got brain cancer and kind of ended it. But Bottle Monkey was different. Bottle Monkey was, I had 17 effects on the floor. So we covered a lot of stuff. I was doing bass. I played a lot of tenor guitar, baritone guitar, kinds of weird shit. And then the guy played guitar and sang, and there was a drummer. It was more avant-garde. It was weird. It was like Neil Young on crack, maybe. I don't know. You can go listen to it. There's 5 Bottle Monkey albums on Spotify. We're raking in the cash, man. I think we've gotten 3 checks for $50 for 10 years. Make it rain, baby.
That's right. Chrome ain't cheap.
No.
All right.
I think you ought to bring it back.
So,
Hey, fuck you, Raven. That mask was really hot, especially at 2-hour gigs. It was long.
oh jeez. All right, Mr. Pierce.
Yep.
So,
Man, I haven't heard anybody call you Mr. Pierce ever.
hey,
That's
don't get
just
used to it.
Are you a probation officer?
So I have to ask, with a name like Hawkeye Pierce and being of a certain age, were you named after the MASH character, or is this your stage name that you just went ahead and made for yourself?
It ended up being my stage name, but yes, I picked the name up from Hawkeye on MASH. Actually, at a senior party when I was a sophomore, a big smart-ass redhead started calling me at this kegger. They had a big senior party. Yeah,
And
we
honestly,
were having a kegger, and I was underage.
He's a little more clinger than Hawkeye, to be honest with you.
But anyway, everybody thought it was funny that he was calling me that, so it stuck. And I thought, well, I'll just use it for my stage name.
There you go.
Never that.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, that's obviously, it's got to be. I got to ask about MASH. So, now, another question for you. I believe you share history with at least one other member of the band in one of these bands, Mr. Hyde. But also, how does Mr. Hyde musically and just dynamic-wise compare with Breaking Dawn and Six String Revolver?
Wow.
Six String Revolver is totally different than either one. Six String, we're doing more just about all originals. So obviously that's input from all of us. So, I mean, the music's, some of it's similar in style, in genre, but Breaking Dawn and Mr. Hyde, they were mostly, both of them were cover bands, except for Breaking Dawn did have a handful of originals. But actually, both bands, they covered a lot of the same music.
Right on. Yeah, I know you.
Similar.
I know you were in Mr. Hyde. Were you in Mr. Hyde with Raven at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hawkeye fired him. One for that.
Right on.
And then he hired me. Yeah. No.
So working our way around to Dave, Mr. Durfee.
The Durf.
What is the line for inappropriate jokes?
Oh,
Ooh. Is there a line?
I don't know. Did I tell you an inappropriate joke?
that's all I know.
No, somewhere
Yeah, he was just telling.
I really was.
He's done his research, man.
somewhere one of the bios for you or the band or whatever, it said that you were like the king of inappropriate jokes or the maker or master or whatever. And I was like, what is, for you, what is an inappropriate joke or what's, here you go. Remember, this is not meant for kids. What is your favorite inappropriate joke, Dave?
Oh,
Ooh.
the 5 worst jokes I've ever heard in my life are from.
I mean, you just told one.
No, that's not the worst one. Those are the bad ones. I'm traumatized.
I always read the audience, like whoever I'm around. I know that these guys can take. I know that they can take a joke. I ask Chuck all the time. What's the difference between a dirty joke and a not dirty joke? And it's that his mom can take a dirty joke.
Nice.
Ow! I don't have a mom. I have a dad that wears a dress. You sure that wasn't him?
But really, I like to tell jokes. I like to have fun. It's just kind of my thing. It lightens the mood.
People walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Humor is a great way to, break the ice or lighten the mood sometimes. Now, you of course were in Raven Kane Band, and now you're in Six String Revolver, and those 2 acts, which really are kind of, would you say Six String Revolver is a rebranded Raven Kane Band, and if so, how does it compare to Aura Surreal? Aura Surreal.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh,
This guy's digging deep.
he's got it.
All right.
Well,
I gotta say,
He did some homework.
as soon as we kind of made the break with Raven and myself, and we decided to look outside and bring these other guys in, it got my juices flowing again about harder rock music. When I was playing for Raven, it was kind of chipper, fun. Mark sitting on his stool playing guitar, and it was like the energy wasn't there. And then I was able to talk him into bringing Chuck in, and me and Chuck, God, we've known each other for how long?
I basically gave Dave's name to Raven. He was recording in my studio.
yes,
8
that's
years
right.
ago. I tried to get him out of my house. That's how I did. I gave him Dave's number.
Yeah.
He had kind of palmed me off, and so we just kind of had this mutual thing going on, and it came up, and Chuck came down and started to jam with us, and we went through just a couple of guitar players, and it didn't vibe the way that we wanted
Part
it
of the
to.
problem was one of the guitars we brought in was actually a drummer.
Yeah, telling me how to do my job.
He wasn't a drummer, he was a drum teacher.
Yeah, and
He was showing him how to do it if he just paid attention. He didn't pay attention.
and I would just look at him like, what are you doing? And then it came up that Hawkeye was kind of in the mix, and I was like, dude,
That was my idea.
we got to get the dude in. And maybe 1-2 rehearsals, and we were money.
Yeah, once he realized Hawkeye wasn't going to tell him how to play drums, he was in.
Yeah. I'm not a drummer.
And so it just kind of sparked that fire to, start to bring that aggressive hard rock style that I was doing with Aura Surreal, not trying to fill in all the holes like I was doing then, but just giving the music what it needs, and just giving it a new idea about it. And I obsess over it. I try not to overplay it, like I did in the Aura Surreal days. I just try and give the groove a solid groove. I was teasing Chuck the other day about one of the songs that we were writing, and I'm like, dude, the groove that I'm playing is on page 1 of any basic learn to play drums book, but it's the way that we're playing it that gives it the cadence, if you will.
We're trying to write heavy pop songs. I mean, heavy, catchy songs. What we're trying to do.
Not really necessarily pop catchy.
Aura Surreal too. Because you were in there for what, 3 albums?
Yeah.
It made a huge divergence. If you listen to those 3 records, man, there's a big difference between the first and third.
There really is.
I mean, it's not even the same style of music, if you ask me. I don't think.
Yeah, it just got harder and harder, and I like hard music. Don't get me wrong.
First album was the best one.
But it hurts at our age.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. All right.
Well, everybody's definition of hard's different too.
True.
I'm not. We're not even gonna go like open that whole floodgate of jokes. We're just gonna move on.
I was thinking the
I
same
was
thing.
going-
I got jokes.
We were all thinking the same
I got
thing.
jokes.
I was thinking about throwing one in, but I better not.
Yeah.
My wife will be mad at me.
All right. So, Raven Hawkins. I mentioned Mr. Hyde earlier, and if I'm not mistaken, that act got signed to 405 Hollywood label records, right?
Well, sort of.
Sort of, not really.
Yeah, sort of. I got signed to 405 with a rendition of "You Are My Sunshine" I was doing. I put it
creepy
together
rendition.
in my closet.
A creepy rendition.
Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, I put it together. I recorded it in my closet, and
Before it came out.
yeah, before I came out, it was a big joke back then. I had to come out of the closet. So I recorded it, and I started playing like solo stuff at different places. And Hawkeye actually heard me do "Wanted Dead or Alive" at one of my solo shows. So I was already building up kind of like this solo stuff. And when Hawkeye heard me and he offered me to come in and play with Mr. Hyde, I hadn't played in a band in a long time, so I jumped at the opportunity. Mm-hmm. But I had already started building up that solo stuff, and then I started getting lines around the building to hear me play just acoustically, believe it or not, and so that really attracted the attention of this record label, who then offered me a deal. While I was in Mr. Hyde, they offered me a deal, but one of the things were they wanted it to be Raven Kane. They didn't want it to be Mr. Hyde, or they wanted it to be Raven Kane. And while I was in Mr. Hyde, we were doing cover songs, and I thoroughly enjoyed that band. Me and Hawkeye really clicked from the moment we did our first show together. We really clicked on stage. I mean, he's got high energy, and I'm high energy, and we've just always clicked. So, I didn't really want to leave Mr. Hyde, but they wanted me to do some stuff that I couldn't be in both. So that's the why me and Mr. Hyde didn't work.
All right. I didn't realize that extra layer there. I didn't. But it was leading me up to a question of how did dealing with 405 Hollywood, how did that compare with dealing with Atlantic Records? Like, what were the expectations and the, expectations of on either side of that?
Well, I will tell you this: I will probably never, ever, 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 ever deal with another record label. Screw those guys.
I heard. Yes, I've heard similar sentiments.
I loathe the record labels. That company owes me $90,000. I'm never going to get it. I loathe the record labels, and so I'm fiercely independent, and think everybody should be independent, especially these days. But those guys screwed me, tattooed me, bent me over, and just it just screwed everything. In fact, we made a cool music video for this song called Bullets and Butterflies that we did, and Hawkeye was actually in the music video. I don't have it anymore. They stripped it all down. They took everything from me. It was horrible, a horrible experience. And then they got me booked on the Vans Warped Tour, and then it was a horrible experience. I never want to do it again. But that's why we have a very unique strategy in Six String Revolver, very independent strategy.
Wow. Well,
to answer your question, 405 Atlantic Records, pardon my crudeness, but they can all go suck a dick.
Wow.
Okay, you heard it here. Right on. No, I've heard similar sentiments, but I was wondering, like 405 seems like it's not local, but like a much smaller, or lower level in the game than Atlanta Records. So I was wondering, like, what happened. But now I know. So we'll move on.
Yeah, and if I ever see that guy from 405 Hollywood again in a dark alley, he's going to find out a new meaning of what Raven Kane, angry, mad, and upset at you.
I'd like to watch that. He's a pacifist. I'm not sure how that even works.
Yeah, now Raven, you're a Kaiso.
Okay, deep breath. Okay, I'm calmed down.
There you go.
Right. Sorry, I didn't get all. That was a hot topic.
All right. One more question for you, Raven, before we move on. So the same kind of question as I've asked the other three. This time I want to know, how does Glutton compare with Red Totem Idol?
Ooh, wow. Ooh, man.
This guy did some research.
Golly, dude, I'm so impressed. Wow.
I have been called the next Nardwar. Thank you very much. And Sean Evans from Hot Ones is my Patronus.
Oh, you are right on point. Red Totem Idol. If you ever get an opportunity, I wrote a book called The Journey, and I talk about my experience in the cult and all the things that happened to me. So all kinds of things happened to me from getting poisoned and someone trying to kill me and all kinds of things. And because of those experiences I had, it gave me all kinds of PTSD. I have a mental illness. It's all because of this terrible experience I had when I was younger. Red Totem Idol was my anger. I wanted revenge on everyone and everything that I could think of. So I would do crazy things on stage, from smashing beer bottles on my head to getting in fights into the crowd. I did insane stuff, climbing up on the rafters, jumping on people, throwing toilet paper, lighting my bass player on fire. I would beat up my bass player on stage. I'd grab him by the hair and rip him down and punch him. And I was angry. I was furious at that stage in my life.
Don't even try it.
Yeah, I was furious. So that was me trying to heal myself from the hurt and pain that I felt, and because it ran deep, and it still does. And some of those songs, Thursday, for example, is a continuation of one of the songs I wrote in Red Totem Idol. It's actually from a rock opera I wrote back then. Sarah. Here's a secret that no one really knows except for a few people. Sarah, who the song is about in Thursday, is the victim of abuse, sexual assault, and all kinds of things. And that Sarah character actually represented me when I was younger. Sarah was me in this rock opera. And so in this song Thursday that we wrote, it's a continuation. It's one of the songs in the rock opera. It's Sarah trying to escape and becoming a new person. Thursday, which is kind of like me trying to escape me and becoming Raven Kane. So there's a lot of deep stuff inside it that nobody knows inside these songs. They're very personal to me. So that was Red Totem Idol. Red Totem Idol was my anger, my healing from all of those things. Glutton, on the other hand, was a musical project, because I do fighting and martial arts and stuff like that. The first American Glutton album that no one has anymore came out with odd time signatures, And the reason why I wanted to write songs with odd time signatures, because as a fighter, as you're doing martial arts, you want to learn how to break the timing. Most people are in 4/4 all the time. I wanted to train with broken rhythms. So the very first Glutton album was all about the broken rhythms and odd time signatures, and that evolved into the stuff that you can hear on YouTube now. But that was the American Glutton stuff. Eventually, it turned into a much cooler project.
Awesome. Well, hey, stick around. We're going to be hearing more from Six String Revolver. We're going to also see that music video for Thursday after this. But for right now, I'm almost empty, so I think we're going to have a quick booze break and hear a message from future Josh. Booze break.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Thanks, Josh from the past. If you're like me, your free time comes at a high price. Once you factor in work, family, friends, and unexpected plans, it can be hard to find some me time for yourself. That's where video games come in. But what to play? Well, just like me, you might have commitment issues when it comes to buying video games. Good news! Gamefly is here to beat your personal time boss levels. Gamefly is the leading online video game rental service in the United States. They deliver the widest selection and availability of games for all the major consoles. Some of the benefits of membership include value. Memberships start for as low as $9.50. Selection. Gamefly has the largest selection of video games anywhere with thousands of titles, including all the new releases and classics. Convenience. Gamefly delivers games to your door. Shipping is free both ways, and there are no late fees. Savings. Gamefly members get free shipping on products such as controllers, accessories, and collectibles. Just for watching this video and for being part of Room 6, and for a limited time only, you can use my affiliate link down in the description to save even more money by checking out their pre-played game sale. You'll get the convenience of services like Netflix, designed for busy gamers like you and me. Plus, you'll be helping out the channel. Thanks to Gamefly for being a sponsor, and let's get back to today's video. We're back, and if that sponsor spot interested you at all, please click the link down in the description. You'll save some money, I'll make some money. Win-win, baby. For those of you just joining us, what are you doing jumping in the middle of a video? This is Six String Revolver doing a virtual interview. They are in Utah, in southern Utah. And stick around. We're going to be seeing their music video for Thursday after this interview. I've got all the links for their social media down in the description if you want to check them out and follow them and, buy their music and whatever. Now then, I want to talk, now, how long has Six String Revolver been Six String Revolver? Like, how long has it existed?
Yeesh.
We had our show in October, right?
Well, we started in the end of July.
So not a year.
No, not a year.
All right, here's why I ask. Normally, I ask this question of a group that's been together for a little bit. They've done lots of shows together. However, you all have performed in, multiple acts, multiple shows, and of course, Dave and Raven have performed in the Raven Kane Band as well. So I want to talk favorite show memory. And by that, I mean, what is that memory that you would pull out at a party and be like, this one time? And it could be things went way off the rails, or you checked off a bunch of rock star wish list things, or somebody went to jail or whatever. What is your if you got to pick one, what is your favorite show memory from just performing in general?
Man, I gotta say, back in December, after we put this group together, we did a private house party, and we were so locked in. It was so fucking cold.
It was cold.
And they had bonfires on both sides of the stage.
Multiple bonfires.
And they were
nice.
destroying cars. And that was so much fun.
I woke up the next day and I have a white pick guard on my face and there's just blood all over it. So my hands were so fucking numb, I didn't know I was beating the shit out of them. It was dark too. We had no lights hardly. Plus, I was wearing a bunny costume. That didn't help.
That did not help. Not at all.
That's the night Raven bounced my wireless off the top of my amp, went off the back of the stage we were playing on.
Let's cover that.
Bounced my Marshall head off the cabinet.
We caught that just
Here's the problem. So gig one, what did you do? Gig one, I had to hold his amp out because he was about to pull it over.
Who, me?
Yeah. And gig two was that when you broke his shit. Gig three was, you disconnected my wireless in the middle of our song.
Yeah.
He stepped on it. Because he's wearing a trench coat and glasses and a hat, and it's dark. He's old.
Wow. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Uh,
My favorite. That last show we had I have a pretty good fond memory of. Well, our last gig, we opened for Saliva up in Cedar City, and honestly, we had a huge crowd, and I think honestly we played to as many or more people than Saliva did.
Mm-hmm.
There was probably more people there to see us than Saliva, and that was the first time I've ever played in that bar where at night, usually in Utah anyway, people straggle in. The show starts at 9, you got your crowds there about 10. We started at 9, there was 150 people in that place. The capacity is 200 maybe. That was a pretty good memory. The crowd went batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm. And you were like, we've got to get everybody up front. I was like, don't worry, we're going to get everybody up front. And as soon as we started, it was
because most
nice.
singers, there's a lot of people that can sing, but there's not a lot of people that can, chum people in. You want to help me look for my puppy little girl? Here's candy, that kind of shit. He chums them in somehow. I don't really know how he does it, but he chums them in.
I mean, apparently you thought this was just another pretty face.
I fucking never said
I love how Chuck just turned you from a really great stage person, a presence singer who to a child predator.
And maybe he's looking for his puppy. You don't know.
All right, next.
Oh my God! Now we're going down a dark.
So let's be clear. Every kid in that bar was over 21. I hope.
Actually, let me pause you right there because you mentioned opening for Saliva. How were they? Because I was fronting an indie rock band, and we were supposed to open for them at a show, and then they ended up canceling at the last minute for some reason. And I always wondered, what was it like? What were they like? And was it was that one of those shows you're like, I can't believe we got to open for them, or I can't believe we got to open for them?
No, they were good, I thought, right?
They were a good
They were very
band.
nice. And after the show, these guys stood in the back of the bar and signed autographs for an hour and a half. And there's 2 versions of Saliva, I think, that's touring. There's one that has
the original,
the original bass player's driver or something, and that's it.
The original bass player's driver?
So the version we played with was Joey Scott, the guy that
The original
sang
singer.
all the big albums. He did the Chad Kroeger song Hero for Spider-Man. It's that guy.
Yeah.
They were humble and kind. They were good.
So it's like Jeff Tate's Queensryche.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I love Jeff Tate's Queensryche.
I love Queensryche, and then
I like too, but Jeff Tate, man, there's something about Jeff Tate. I got to meet that guy. He was definitely cool.
Yeah, he really chums them in, man.
Maybe that's why I like him.
All right. Who else has a favorite show memory?
I thought it was awesome when we warmed up open for Saving Abel.
Yeah.
That's the first time
that
since the 80s I played for that big of a crowd. There's 5,000 people there.
That was our first gig.
That was our debut gig, yeah.
Wow.
Probably practiced guy 4 times prior.
I hadn't did that since the 80s, played for that big of a crowd. And it felt comfortable, it just felt good. Energy. Us as musicians, it probably wasn't our best gig. I mean, we did good, but
we hadn't been together very long.
We're a lot better now than we were then.
We did no covers that night, right?
No covers.
No covers.
And I've got to tell you, and this is we're normally pretty goofy. I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. We're normally pretty goofy and fun-loving type of group if you watch some of our videos and stuff. But to me, a performance is a spiritual experience. So every single one of them is important to me. I get lost in the music. I get lost in the interaction with the crowd because when we're all working together, it becomes a moment of zen. It totally is mushin. There's no mind. I don't have to look at Hawkeye. Hawkeye doesn't have to look at me and Chuck and Dave. We all just we just know where it is. And I'll go off on tangents and all kinds of stuff. And these guys just come right together. We just all come together. And so it's very zen. And then what I'm trying to do is try to give all of my energy to everyone in the crowd, because the way I see it, during a show, they're here to be entertained. They want to escape their normal life, at least for an hour, to really be away from all the problems and all the crap and everything. So I'm trying to give them all of the energy I can possibly muster out of my body into them while they're feeding it back to us. And it's this beautiful exchange of, to me, spirituality. It is an absolute spiritual experience. And that's why I saw in Jim Morrison's performances too, even though he was whacked out of his head. That was a spiritual experience with Jim Morrison and the Doors. They would have this vibe. And to me, that's the same type of thing. So I get lost in it. It's like the church. That's why during the performances I say, "Welcome to the Church of Rock." And this is because it's a spiritual experience to me.
Very cool. Very cool. So last question. You made it. Yay. And Dave and Raven, I think I've asked you this before. OG Room Sixers, you know what's coming. I asked this of all my prey. It's a great last question. We're going to circle back to that earliest musical influence question, and we're going to talk to little you. Okay? There you are saying, I want to do that. You have a time machine. You can go back and you can talk to that little you. What is one thing that you wish you could have said, hey, you're going to need to know this? And don't say change your strings, Hawkeye.
You do need to know that.
You need to know that.
I don't know. As I got a little me, I wish I would have practiced a little bit more than I did at the first. And then once I got a little older, I wish I would have stayed away from the partying as much as I did. The partying held me back a lot more than. I mean, I still eventually got pretty much to where I wanted to be, but I could have got there a lot faster if I would have just stayed away from so much partying. You don't know how much I partied, Chuck.
You're like 80.
You would have loved me when you were a cop.
cop, dude. Don't give him your secrets.
I haven't been a cop for 70 years. What would I tell myself if I could go back and change something musically or just anything?
No, literally just like give yourself a heads up, like, hey, you're going to need to know this one thing because, XYZ.
Buy Google stock when you're young? I don't know. One thing that's always bothered me that as a bass player, it probably shouldn't, but it does. I wish I'd have started off on a 5 or 6 string bass as opposed to starting off on a 4 string bass. To be perfectly honest with you, because I've gone back and forth to 5 string basses several times, and I think if I bought another one, my wife would probably bury me in the fucking backyard. So I'm not buying another one. Because the problem is I buy them, I love them, and that low note is better. But whenever I get panicked on stage and I've had a few beers, or I try not to do that too much, but I always go to the low E. Well, hey, dumbass, that's a 5 string. That's not an E. That's a B. So, and it doesn't even sound like an E. It sounds like a whale farted on stage anyway. It's so fucking low. But yeah, it doesn't.
No,
exactly. You have to clear your ear.
That's just funk, baby.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
What about me? Ooh. I wish I would have started double bassing a lot earlier.
Freebasing?
Oh,
double.
Not freebasing, double bassing.
Double bassing. Is that what the kids call it nowadays?
I didn't get into it until I was a senior in high school, and I wish I would have got into it a little bit earlier. I mean, I started playing when I was 8, and it was so many, almost 9 years of playing behind a kit before I actually got into it and learning how to enunciate different things. And that's something that I wish I would have got into a lot earlier.
I'm a little grateful Hawkeye didn't practice more to make us even look stupider when we were, right?
Yeah, for real.
Because he's
Always scratch your head. How's he doing
it's hard
that?
keeping up with him now.
We lose our play sometimes when we're just watching Hawkeye with our mouths open.
I tell Dave, hey, we're changing. Dave's going, look at the pretty guitar sound.
Yeah, me too. Even tonight, I was enthralled in your solo, and all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm supposed to sing right here.
Came out of the soul.
Right on. And Raven?
Mine's a little double-edged sword, man, because honestly, I love my life. I love my family and the kids and everything that I've had the opportunity to do. But if we're just talking about just music, and if I could still have my same family, my same wife, my same kids, and all of that, I would have told myself, and I had the opportunity in the 89 or so, 89, 90, something like that. I had the opportunity to move to LA with some guys, and I just know, like, deep in my soul, had I been able to go to LA, things would have been a lot different. I would have taken, my whole life would have been a different path. And, I would tell myself to move to LA, man. If I could still have the same family, same kids and all of that, then I would say move to LA when I had the opportunity. Just moving to Utah my whole life, music life, because we're so close to LA and Vegas and all these things,
Yeah, because you went from Virginia to Utah, which is a bit
yeah,
of a
but that
culture
gave me
shock.
my southern sound, though. That, like, when I came here, the reason why I was getting so much attention, I think, is because I don't sound like anybody else here. Everybody else was singing very, very, and I don't sound like that at all. And so it gave me a unique sound out here.
There you go. Like, honestly, all great tips to younger yous or to new musicians. Stick around. We're going to see that music video for Thursday, and if you want to know more about Six String Revolver, hit those social media links down in the description. And gentlemen, I think we're going to temporarily say goodbye and check out a music video. So temporarily say goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Here she goes again, dreaming of tomorrow. It's a wonderful hair. Every here smiles. Look at that girl, they say. Her name is Thursday. And the dream goes on. She always dreams in red, and she dances in the rain, with tears on from laughing. Here she goes again. Look at that girl, they say. Her name is Thursday, and the dream goes on. Anybody else to hear? Not even me. Not even. Look at that girl, they say. Her name is Thursday, and the dream goes on. Ain't nobody heard her here. Look at that girl, they say. Her name is Thursday, and the dream goes on. Ain't nobody heard her here. Not even me. Not even. Not even. Not even. Not even. Not even.
I want to thank Six String Revolver for coming on the channel. It was a great interview and an awesome music video. Make sure that you check them out with their social media links down in the description, and hopefully you can see them live, or at the very least, pick up some of their music and their merch. In the meantime, if you want to see more videos like this, click up there. If you want to subscribe, click up there, ring the bell. I love all of you. It really does make a difference. And if you want to hear my own music, which is totally different than theirs, click over there. Remember to be amazing, and we'll see you next time on Room 6. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, thanks for having us. Bye.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum. There's always one.